It's a do or die moment for the Indian cricket team in the Women's T20 World Cup that is currently held in the UAE. This weekend, you'll probably come to know whether India are staying for one more week for the playoffs or they are heading back home early. Because India now are in second position, but they have played a game extra. The team that they lost to in the beginning, New Zealand, are playing today as well as the day after India plays their last league game. Now, what are the permutations and combinations that the India women's team need to look at when they have to qualify for the semi-final? Because this is the points table at this point. Australia are all but settled. They are in the semi-final almost. New Zealand, they are taking on Sri Lanka today. If New Zealand beats Sri Lanka, even then they are still not out of the woods. For India, the equation is very, very simple. Their last game is against Australia. They have to beat them. However, New Zealand will have the advantage of knowing what to do because they will play Pakistan. So this is how the schedule is at this point. Today it is Sri Lanka versus New Zealand. Then it's India versus Australia on October 13th. Then it is Pakistan versus New Zealand on October 14th. New Zealand have gotten the two easier games, but because of the way how they lost to Australia, their net run rate has taken an absolute pummeling, minus 0.05. India's net run rate is back on track because they beat Sri Lanka by a huge margin. Sri Lanka are the only team who have officially been eliminated from the tournament. Pakistan still have a chance because this is the scenario. If India beat Australia, that's it. They can still go through because New Zealand's net run rate will not be that great. But India will be guaranteed into the semi-finals if New Zealand loses one game today or if they lose their last game versus Pakistan. If India lose to Australia, if New Zealand wins against Sri Lanka and Pakistan, game over. India cannot qualify because they'll end up with 4 points. Now, an interesting scenario is if New Zealand and India lose their games both, then Pakistan might come into the fray. That is how Pakistan can still make it. If Pakistan beats New Zealand, Australia hammer India, then even Pakistan can go through. So in this equation, net run rate will come into play. It depends by the margin upon which how much they win or suffer that defeat. So, clear-cut equation. India will stay alive in the playoff race if they beat Australia. If New Zealand lose one game, then India are guaranteed. But if New Zealand wins one game and India loses to Australia, then it will come down to the net run rate. If New Zealand win 2, India lose to Australia, New Zealand are through. If both India and New Zealand lose their games, Pakistan can also jump them. So that is why if you look at Pakistan's net run rate at this point is minus 0.488, but we have seen how much the net run rates can fluctuate in this T20 World Cup. Australia are all but through because the net run rate will not take such a massive hammering unless it's by well over 100-120 runs that they lose. And New Zealand absolutely hammer Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Sri Lanka have not been at their best and that is why they will be hoping that they end the tournament on a high. The last time Sri Lanka played Pakistan, New Zealand, Chamaria Tapatu had stolen the show. So, looking at this current situation, all eyes will be on today's game, but India have all to do. They have to beat Australia because Australia have two injury worries, Alyssa Healy and Taylor Vlaminick. Alyssa Healy might be a big blow, but because who will be the captain? Either it will be Talia Magra, keeper will be Pet Mooney, could even be Ellis Perry as the captain. So, looking at this current situation, India have to win. If they lose to Australia, game over. Bye-bye India from the T20 World Cup especially, and this will be very, very heartbreaking. Thank you so much folks for joining us for this video. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis.